playoff debut of Victor Wembanyama.
Don't tap that glass, don't tap that glass, don't tap that glass, hey, don't tap that glass, there's a monster already. Don't tap that glass, don't tap that glass, baby, don't tap that glass, don't tap that glass.
You've got to be kidding me here.
Don't tap that glass, there's a monster already.
Oh, I love it.
35-5.
What a debut for Victor.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to First Take. Shea Cornette here. Stephen A. is here. Brian Windhorst is here. Good morning, fellas. How are you today?
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing? How's everything?
We are great. Great. We are ready. NBA playoffs, obviously, is a huge swing. Also, huge news out of the NFL. We'll get to that in a little bit. Dan Orlowski is standing by. But let's go to the NBA and what Victor Wembanyama did yesterday. Have you ever seen a better crowd buy-in than what the San Antonio Spurs did yesterday? Look at that. Rocking the Fiesta T-shirts. Wemby's debut in the postseason did not disappoint. He dropped 35 to help the Spurs beat the Trailblazers 111-98. Wemby was dominant defensively as well, holding Portland scoreless on 11 attempts when he was the primary defender. Here was Victor Wembanyama after helping the Spurs win their first playoff game in 7 years.
The first time I stepped on the court, even for warm-ups, I felt the atmosphere was different. Everybody's ready. I mean, the fans were ready. It's probably the most excited I've seen this arena.
Yes, exciting is a good word. On Sunday, Wemby scored the most points by a Spurs player in their postseason debut. He had 35 points. He made 5 threes, becoming the first player in playoff history to debut with those kinds of numbers. So now the Spurs and Wemby get another shot at this, but have they proved they are ready for a deep playoff run in just one game? What do you think, Wendy?
Absolutely. As I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, over the next 5 to 10 years, how many times are we going to watch Victor Wembanyama play in a big game in San Antonio? I think there's going to be a lot this spring. I think there's going to be a lot for a long time. And, 2 years ago, Stephen A., when the France played against Team USA in the gold medal game in Paris, that was no doubt the biggest moment of Wemby's career to that moment. Playing in his hometown, for a gold medal, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He was 21 years old, the underdog. He came out in the first play of that game and hit a three-pointer. He was not afraid at all. He had 26 points that night. I know it'll always be remembered for the Steph Curry performance, but Victor almost led France to that upset. He was never afraid. And so I was not surprised at all when he comes into the situation. And I understand the Blazers are not exactly the 86 Celtics here, okay? However, for him to come in and have 12 points in the first quarter, second possession of the game, or 10 seconds in, whatever, he's driving to the basket, looking to get an easy score. He's looking to take the pressure off his teammates in his first ever playoff game, puts up 21 in the first half. I mean, this guy is ready for the moment. And I'm going to tell you something, Shea. I don't even think he played that well by his standards. He only had 5 rebounds, only had 1 assist, only 2 blocks. I know he was really good defensively. He is going to have much, much better playoff games just this year, much less in the future.
Here's why ladies and gentlemen, that Wemby is, as not Wemby, but Wendy is wrong, and he's a bit caught up in the sauce right now, Shea. The question was about the Spurs, not about Wemby. We know what Wemby can do. The 35 points, you understand, the 5 or 6 from three-point range, the 14 points in the fourth quarter after going scoreless in the third. We know what he could do. But the question is, did the Spurs prove they can go for a deep playoff run? I think Wemby's capable of anything. I think he's a superstar. I think he's going to be the face of the league. I think he's absolutely sensational in every superlative that you want to throw in his direction. Feel free, because none of us are in a position to disagree. And we shouldn't want to, because it's not just his game, but I love his personality and what he brings to the game. I don't think we've taken into account, with all the superlatives and all the praise and laudables that Brian Windhorst threw out there, he left something out. And I'm sure there's so many things to think about. There's no crime there. But what he did during NBA All-Star Weekend, what he did leading up to NBA All-Star Weekend, what he did to end the regular season, and to talk about what he was shooting for before he ultimately got hurt, to let everybody know, to put everybody on notice that he was going for the MVP and he wasn't apologetic about it, that he was going for the All-Star win and he wasn't apologetic about it. It raised everybody's antenna and it raised everyone else's fervor. That is what you want from a superstar, from a great player, particularly a great young player in the National Basketball Association. And Wemby gives all of that to you. I love him. He's absolutely, positively phenomenal. And I look at the Spurs, and I say to myself, with the Castles, with the Vassals, with the De'Aaron Foxes of the world, the capability, sure, but did they prove it? Hell no. The Portland Trail Blazers had the least potent offense of all 16 playoff teams. And they finished 21st in offensive efficiency throughout this year. That's right. Wendy ended it right, rather. They did not go against the 86 Boston Celtics. That's not who they were going up against last night. So as far as I'm concerned, they haven't proven much in terms of yesterday's victory, last night's victory, because it was against the Portland Trail Blazers, who, by the way, let me take a moment to give some love. I saw Scoot Anderson in a way that he's playing. Brother's got a lot of promise. Interviewed him the night he got drafted with his family and his sisters and all of that other stuff. This brother's got a lot of promise. I'm going to be excited to watch Portland in the years to come. Make no mistake about it. Give him some love. But the Portland Trail Blazers collectively ain't the greatest test in the world. So let's pump the brakes just a touch. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I will say Denny Avia had 30 points in his first ever playoff game. So as long as we're going to praise Victor, we
57% shooting.
And Avia came out in the first quarter and had like 10 or 11 points or something. He came out of the gates blazing too. So I give them both credit. Yes, Stephen A., I agree. It was not a premium performance by the Spurs. I mean, one of the things that we saw in this game, and we're going to continue to see, the Blazers' game plan was to back off Stephon Castle. That is something you were going to, I think he was 7 of 17. He was able to get to the line, but what you're going to see is you're going to see teams camping on Wembanyama and backing off of Castle, and they're going to try to make him beat them. One of the reasons why they're able to win this game was that Devin Vassell got hot on three-point shooting in the third quarter when the Blazers made a move at the Spurs. I think all of those things are true, but I also know from just being around teams, when you're in your first playoff game as a group, you are in the deep end of the pool. And guess what? There is no deep end with Victor Wembanyama. He just stands up. So I agree. And I watched Oklahoma City play yesterday, and you're telling me someone's beating that monster 4 out of 7? I ain't saying it. But if you're asking me whether the Spurs can go in a deep playoff run after I saw how Wembanyama handled his business, I think absolutely yes.
I think it's possible, but I think that, you know what? I mean, your next opponent in all likelihood, unless Minnesota's going to win game 2, your next opponent is going to be the Denver Nuggets. What's your definition of a deep playoff run? If you're telling me a game 7 of a conference semifinals and beyond, I'm feeling you. But if you get bounced out in 5 games or so in the Western Conference semifinals, that to me isn't tantamount to a deep playoff run. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's going to happen to the Spurs because I can't see that happening to any team with Victor Wembanyama on it, no doubt about it. Again, with De'Aaron Fox, with Stephon Castle, who didn't have the greatest game, with Vassell and the crew. But the point is that Portland is not the litmus test that we should be measuring anything by for the San Antonio Spurs. It really, really isn't. And that's just the honest truth.
Okay, well, they have another game at home on Tuesday against the Trailblazers. Spurs are 11-0 at home in the playoffs against the Blazers. That's their best home record against any team in the postseason. Let's go to the East now. The 1 seed in the East, the Pistons, they struggled mightily against the Magic at home. Cade Cunningham played 40 minutes and scored 39 points. That's great. Tobias Harris added 17. But after that, there really was not much help. The Magic, on the other hand, very balanced. All their starters scored 15 or more points. Orlando never trailed in this game, beat Detroit 112-101 in Game 1. So the Pistons have an NBA record, 11 straight home playoff losses. Unfortunately, their last win was